Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I am Sarah Martin with The Contour Chemist. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. If you are new here, this is going to be short and sweet. If you're not new here, you know I tend to explain everything in great detail. So anything in this video that you don't fully understand, know I can point you in the direction of a video that explains it thoroughly. That's my specialty. But I wanted to create a super quick, non-talky video showing you how to get started. Like you just got your 3D foundation. Do you have a quick video I can follow as I'm putting on my makeup for the first time on the daily until I know what I'm doing? This is gonna be it. So not a lot of talking. I'll explain maybe a touch of why I'm doing things in the order I'm doing if you are new here, but this is gonna be how I put on my face every single day and why it works best for me. And hopefully it'll help you get started on your Seint journey as well. So if you wanna check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe so you see all my other tutorials, and thank you for being here. Okay friends, no messing around. Let's get started on some super fast 3D foundation. First things first, 2 brushes. This is what I recommend my clients getting started with. So this is what I'm gonna show you guys. Blush and bronzer and the detail. And last but not least, the Perfector sponge is a must-have in the methods I show. Then I've got my 3D foundation here. If you are putting your tints in your palette for the very first time, I recommend darkest to lightest, the order of application for your highlights, so you don't have to label them and you'll know which one is which. Because we always apply the darkest shade to the darkest points of our face first, I'm gonna start with my color corrector. Blush brush and tapping in, because we never swipe into these creams. I just washed my brushes so you can see how very little I pick up on my brush. And then I am going to hit all of the darkest points of my face. So for me, since I have a lot of issues, I'm hitting hyperpigmentation, rosacea across my mask area, and I am buffing it on because that gives me the lightest hand possible. Now you'll notice I don't contour first, and that's because I have a lot of issues in this area. And if I was to not use this corrector or contour first, you will see my dark spots showing through, not giving me the best longevity, not giving me the best coverage. Okay, so I hit the high points of the face first, then I go in with the detail end of the detail brush, and here's where I'm getting into those small areas. Again, still tapping really lightly, so I'm not picking up much product, and I'm still buffing in order to give me the lightest hand of coverage. I'm gonna use this anywhere I have things I wanna color correct, like dark points, under eye, dark circles, veins. I'm also kind of using it to tone that area that is way lighter than the rest of my skin. Blemishes, broken capillaries. So since the big blush end doesn't fit those areas well, I use the detail brush, and this is where I make sure everywhere I need coverage is covered. So now I'm switching to a stippling pressing motion to kind of give me extra coverage. I don't know if you noticed in the beginning of the video, my nose was the darkest point of my face by far. So now I am pressing to cover those dark spots. So anywhere you still see a lot of depth that you need to build up coverage, I want to do that first before moving on to my main. So still already a lot of good coverage, but it doesn't look heavy. That's my goal. Next, color. That was my corrector. Now I'm gonna switch to my main, back to the blush end. Again, tapping in to get some color on the brush. Now I'm gonna just tap that on each area of my face. And I'm not gonna buff because I don't wanna move the corrector and all of those dark points I already matched. Now I'm just toning down the warmth of my corrector shade. I'm keeping myself matching and I'm giving myself a little bit more coverage because with this makeup, you have to build it in really thin layers. So less is more, no swiping, gently tap on. Okay, I go back to that same small detail brush again and do the same thing and just tap on more coverage where that other brush wouldn't reach. Again, this is evening out the skin tone and giving myself way more coverage than I ever could have got from one color alone. This color by itself won't color correct, and I would have to use a lot of it to get this level of coverage. And then I wouldn't get the skin-like glow. I would look cakey, it would feel heavy. That's the opposite of what I want. Time for the third shade, the contour, the part that gives us our face that three-dimensional look, adds our shadow, chisels out our features, right? So we're gonna go back to the detail using that large flat end. We're gonna pick up some color on the brush. These are much drier than the highlights. So we gotta pounce in with a little bit more pressure. It takes some trial and error for you to learn how to pick up the product on the brush in the right amount. Give yourself some grace and some patience. It takes a little bit of practice. So I'm gonna take that bottom part and I'm gonna start pressing it right where my cheekbone is from about the top of my ear, corner of my eye. I'm gonna stop and then I'm just gonna keep pressing. And what happens is it blends as I apply and I'm pressing upwards to ombre that color up. So it's not gonna move everything I corrected. If you get a little too far in or too low, use that highlight end to just simply tap to blur those edges. Repeat on the other side. We are not swiping back and forth to blend. Usually that just either takes it all away to where you can't even see your contour anymore and you think it's not dark enough, or it exposes all of the areas you just got all that coverage on. Now, if you don't have areas of concern under it, you can most definitely apply your contour first. It's completely personal preference. This method gives me far more coverage in my difficult contour areas. Okay, forehead, we're just gonna frame it out, press it on, make sure you pull it down into the highlight so you got a nice blend here. We don't want defined forehead. Then we go up under the jaw to sharpen that out and blend down the neck so we always match. We don't want any weird unblended areas. Okay, if you have a brightener shade, here's where I like to go back in with this small end. We tap and then we tap where we want to brighten, which is normally under the eye. In some areas, I like to just hit where I have a shadow, not necessarily where social media is trending on the brightening, but just where I need it, which is normally right here on the side of the nose, which is darker, and where my eyes have a natural contour and shadow, I like to give the illusion it's not there. Then you can go down the nose. Since I didn't nose contour, it's not necessary. You can go between the eyes, on the forehead, center of the chin. Now, if you happen to have a lighter neck, you usually want to go back and press along the jawline so you stay matching as well. If you got a bronzer, here's where you can gently swirl into your bronzer and then again, tap onto the high points of your face where the sun would naturally hit first. Forehead, nose, cheeks, and chin. Again, I'm always tapping to control. It's so much easier to gradually build than to pick up too much product on the brush, have to work on blending it and exposing some of those areas you might have already covered. Time for the perfector. This is a non-negotiable if you're layering in any way. Trying to build up to full coverage, you need the perfector if you don't want to look cakey or have issues with creasing. This is also the only way you can remove excess, which is the number one issue everyone has when trying this makeup because it's so pigmented and you need so very little of it. You usually overuse and apply way too much. If it doesn't feel like your skin, you've applied too much. And again, it'll just take some practice. So we're just gonna pounce this everywhere. I really focus it under the eyes because that's my problem area, smile lines, anywhere that your face typically goes inward. These creams can crease because these creams don't set unless you set them. So I get off excess. It doesn't look like makeup, it looks like skin. That's my goal. Now we can go in and we can set those areas if you need to. Completely personal preference, whether you go in with a setting powder or your setting spray. Some people like both. I typically just go in, I touch my vanilla dust that controls the amount I have, and then I simply tap under each eye, bring the excess down the side of the nose. I like to get rid of a little bit of shine. I swipe in to set my eyelids because they're oily and it preps it for eyeshadow. And then anywhere I'm prone to creasing. Simple, quick, done. Now I can go ahead and finish my face with my lip and cheek and the illuminator, which is the fun part. So my favorite is getting some pigmentation with a matte color or a satin. These are the most pigmented. We go to the outside apples of the cheek and again, just tap on. If you apply too much, you're just gonna have to work on blending. If you didn't notice, I don't wanna spend time on blending. I like to blend as I go. Tap it on, then I'm gonna top it with a gloss to give me that glowy look that I love. So there was Madrid topped with Sunshine State. You can use the same colors on your lips. Line your lips with your contour or suede lip liner if you want to, or just use your fingers. Keep it really simple. And I'm gonna end with a little illuminator using the Perfector sponge. This is Nova. I'm just going to swipe in generously. It's the only thing I swipe into, and then tap. So we got contour, lip and cheek, illuminator right there. You can use it inner corners, under your brow, Cupid's bow, anywhere you want. There was my full face. Okay, there you go, friends. I went ahead and used my trusty Trust eyeshadow and the line brush to fill in my brows because let's be honest, my brows take longer than the rest of my face. And I threw on just a one color Bubba eyeshadow. And there you go. There's my fast face. Using color correction doesn't make it any longer, but it does add to longevity if you have issues like I do. I hope that was helpful and fast enough. I promise I tried to make it as short as possible. I tend to talk. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below. I am happy to help you. If you are just discovering Seint and you do not have a color match or have your shades yet, let me know. My color match request is in the drop box below the video, also in the pinned comment. I'd be happy to be your artist and make sure you get the perfect shades the first time. It's a pet peeve of mine to make sure everyone is color matched as accurately as possible. If you're having issues with the shades you already have, or maybe you're like, do I need a color corrector? I'm happy to help and let you know if you need one or not. You can also fill out my form, shades you already have and any issues you might be having, and I can help you troubleshoot as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Love you.